It was a normal afternoon, an electric skateboard, a tiny bump in the road. In a fraction of a second, 20-year-old Gabe Poirot hit the pavement skull first at 30 miles an hour. The back of his head shattered, blood poured from his ears, his lungs filled with vomit. His friends, helpless beside him on the road, could do nothing but pray. By the time the ambulance arrived, the medics had already seen this kind of case before. They knew what it meant. His parents, 1,000 miles away, received the call that no parent should ever receive. The nurses were already speaking of him in the past tense. For 18 days, Gabe's body lay in the ICU. His brain showed almost no activity. The doctors prepared his family for the worst, and if he survived, they said, it would be a life barely worth calling one. But Gabe wasn't where they thought he was. He had left. And what he encountered during those 18 days is the subject of one of the most remarkable near-death testimonies published in a generation. Not because of what he saw in heaven, but because of who he met there and what that person told him. Gabe describes the moment his spirit left his body not as darkness or unconsciousness, but as release. He watched from above as his friends panicked below him. He watched the ambulance arrive. He watched his own body being loaded onto a stretcher. And then he was somewhere else entirely, drawn upward through what he describes as a vertical tunnel of living light. He writes, "It wasn't just something I was approaching, it was something I was becoming part of. All the darkness and death faded away in the distance." Then he heard a voice, "You have an appointment." What followed was 18 days, or what felt like a breath and an eternity simultaneously, in a place Gabe describes not primarily as a location, but as a person. The entire first section of this book is Gabe working to answer the question readers most want answered. What did Jesus look like? He describes eyes burning with purple passion, a fierce red fire and a blue ocean colliding, hair white as victory and dark with humanity. And the overwhelming, almost disorienting message radiating from every feature was the same 3 words over and over, "I love you." Gabe was gripped by terror over his own sin. He had been a hypocrite, an addict, ruthless. He expected judgment. Instead, Jesus showed him the wounds in his wrists. Within those wounds, Gabe saw that the price was paid fully, finally, permanently. And above the scars on both wrists, written in an eternal inscription, was a single name, Gabriel. Jesus said, "My brother, why are you looking for that which does not exist?" What was there was a face looking at him saying, "Welcome home, look at me." What follows in the book is something Gabe calls his life review, seeing his entire existence played back from a divine perspective. When teachers diagnosed him with a speech impediment and ADHD, he saw Jesus say, "He will speak for me, my Father will use him mightily." When he lived a double life in middle school, he saw Jesus say, "He will not follow what will leave him empty. He will shine bright with my glory." When doctors said he would never wake up, he saw Jesus say, "I will send him back, and he will be filled with the breath of my spirit and live." But the most striking thing was how closely he had been watched. "He could never take his eyes off me," Gabe writes. "I was his only one." And then, quietly, the book poses the question that changes everything. He sees you the same way. The book moves through an extraordinary range of what Gabe witnessed. Moses on a timeline, Elisha, the throne room filled with living creatures. He describes colors that don't exist, music experienced through every sense, a fragrance that burned and froze, a place where past, present, and future are one. None of heaven's wonders exist to draw attention to themselves. All of it exists for one reason, to say, "Worthy is the Lamb." One striking detail is a flash of light at the moment of conception, a spark of zinc scientists documented recently. Gabe saw this long before science confirmed it. The question Gabe knew he'd have to answer is why he was sent back. Jesus told him, "Gabriel, reveal to everyone who I really am. They must know the truth. They will be set free." That commission is the reason the book exists. He waited 4 years before he could put it into language. The book also includes a final section answering critics. It includes medical documentation, photographs, CT scans from the ICU. Several of the most prominent scholars in charismatic Christianity have endorsed the book. Rick Renner, Joseph Z., John Burke, Randy Kay, not casually, but with conviction. Rick Renner writes in his foreword, "I have never written a foreword for a book like this." He read it multiple times before agreeing to write a single word. The book is already climbing the charts, reaching the top of the USA Today and New York Times bestsellers lists. Publishers Weekly and other major outlets have recognized the profound impact of this testimony. The book is called 18 Days in Heaven. It is written by Gabe Poirot and published by Harrison House in 2026. What distinguishes this account is its consistent, unwavering focus on the person of Jesus, not the sensations, but who he is and what he communicates. If you have ever wondered whether you are truly known, whether your failures have been cataloged, this book answers those questions through testimony. A young man who looked into the eyes of Jesus and came back to tell the world what he found there. The link to pick it up is in the description. At Nori Media Group, we bring you books and conversations that go where most content doesn't. Follow us and drop a comment below. What's your question about heaven?